Hey everybody, I'm Dejan Williams. I'm a sustainability specialist at Kennesaw State University. Today I'm representing My Green Earth as a natural resource manager. Have any of you guys been to the KSU field station or food forest? Raise your hand if you have. Okay, so you're probably wondering why we're at a place like this. So I want to make a point and where they have taught me so much about the concept of food foresting, and I'm a big naturalist guy, so I'm really kind of obsessed with plants. So what happened is I was on a project planting a miniature food forest project at South Cobb Recreation Center, and what we did there was we put mulberries, service berries, plums, and wildflowers, and that kind of it got a good amount of retention. So that had Habitat for Humanity contact us for this site. So this is an entire Habitat for Humanity community. All the surrounding houses were giving to families through Habitat for Humanity. They also bought this lot as well. They bought this lot probably about 7 years ago, and unfortunately they brought scouts out, they brought developers out, and this was way too moist and way too wet to build anything on it. Unfortunately, the soil was just too saturated. So they have sat on this property for those 7 years. Once they heard about our miniature food forest in South Cobb Recreation Center, they asked us to come out and scout the area. So again, I am a big plant nerd, so what that scouting meant was, is there a potential to put plants that would survive here that would provide food and resources for the communities? So first thing, I just put my eyes out here, and beautifully, I think this is a perfect day for it, I saw a bunch of black cherries. Black cherries are a native tree in our ecosystem. They do well. Unfortunately, a lot of people cut them down before they even get mature enough to produce fruit because they're kind of like a weed, and this one is actually already producing fruit for us. So this is a black cherry, and all of these guys are fruit that are going to be in actually a harvestable spot that was already native here. And we have a couple of black cherries. Then I saw the black willows. Black willows are gonna be these guys right here. And doing a little bit of research, most of the times you can use like the branches and stuff as like a building resource, make baskets and stuff, but you can actually also make teas and have it's like a heart ailment. It's something that can help with heart issues. So that is already, we have this one, but that was actually my favorite one over there. That is a 3-trunked willow, which means she has been here for a long time, and she is holding that soil in, and she's getting that retention already in this ecosystem. So we are actually going to start walking down a little bit so I can just show you guys through how we got to this area, but I am also going to be pointing out plants as we go down. So one of the other species that we do have in here are sumacs. This is a beautifully mature sumac that was already in this ecosystem. This will flower and then produce a seed pod, and those seed pods you can actually pull from, and you can make lemonade or you can make a seasoning, which is super high in vitamin C. So again, this is now the 3rd species that was already here that will provide a food or resource for us. We're barely gonna make it 5 feet before we see the 4th species, which is a native red mulberry that was already growing in this ecosystem. So it's just knowing and being educated about these plants, seeing that they are already thriving in here, which kind of sold me to the potential of having a food forest here. A lot of the other species, or what we call like first successional trees, tulip poplars and sweet gums, we can get rid of a couple of those to add in some fruiting species. So this is a native red mulberry that was already here in our ecosystem. This spot was the scouting, and across the street there is a creek, and there's a nice pond pretty much, and there are 2 beautifully grown elderberry shrubs, and they are probably about 6 feet or above. But the cool thing about that is from that scouting, all I had to do was take cuttings from the mama elderberry over there, and we now have successful cuttings from that elderberry on this side of the street that are going to give us elderberries from a plant that was already here. So at this point, we have not bought any plants yet. Now we're going to get into the introduction of what we'll be adding into this space. So I do have sheets that we can pass around for the before and afters. You can literally see on the left side, it was nothing but English ivy and nothing but privet. I mean, it just looked like an overgrown green space. Through the community, we had 3 invasive removal sessions, and we've got most of the ivy. Obviously, it's coming back. We'll have continued maintenance where we got most of the ivy and most of the invasive species out here, which made way for us to put more stuff in there. So as we walk into this trail, again, we're going to clear out a couple of these blackberries, but where these flags are, Here's one cutting from Mama Elderberry, and here's another cutting from Mama Elderberry, and they are already doing well. They're leafing out, and those are going to be our trail starters. And then we can start making our way inside. If you look to the left, there are two flags. Those are actually two red mulberries that we bought, that we introduced into the ecosystem with the other red mulberry that was here. As we make our way down, unfortunately, I did try to make some larger elderberry cuttings. Those did not survive that well, so that's why we will be planting more mature elderberry plants. Jason, I really appreciate the native pollinator point that you made in your description, because this is going to be a huge shout out to Seth. Seth led our native planting for our last session, and one goal and one mission that I asked was, could you find a way to box off our native pollinator garden? And Seth led his group of volunteers and made this beautiful, almost like a dead hedge wall of sticks, to where we have cardinal, carnation flowers, spotted bee balm, scarlet bee balm, and we have also planted some violets in here. Now that KSU has been involved, we actually got 2 endangered milkweed plants donated for this project that we would now be incorporating into this native pollinator. Those pollinator plants and wildflowers are going to bring our insects into this space to help us with our fruiting trees that we are also going to add. So as you guys walk by, you can see that we have this boxed off, but each of the flags in there is a native wildflower that we put in there. As we come down, we're going to try to make a line of river oats and button bushes. Those are still going to be a part of our pollinators. As you look on the right side of you, you will still see cuttings that are successful from the Mama Elderberry. So those were just branches I cut off from the elderberry. We cut off, put in the ground, and now they are leafing out as their own elderberry plants. We didn't even have to buy them. Those came right across from the street, and now they're doing well on their own. This is actually my favorite one. I kind of just stuck her in between the rocks, and even she is leafing out and becoming her own elderberry plant. So this is going to be an ongoing project. However, you guys are going to be a part of the pretty much finalized planting. We do plan on putting a couple more plants in this space. However, this is going to be the bulk of it. The most of the work was already done from the community coming out. If you guys can see this trail that you're walking on with the rocks on this side, all of these rocks came out of the soil. They came out of the soil, and as a group, we actually reinforced the waterway that was already flowing through this system. That is one important thing you want if you are incorporating a food forest. You want to make sure that water is flowing through your system so all your plants can grab that up. So this is a pawpaw, and she is now leafing out so well. This is just a testament that this can be done. All we did, you can see the stumps. All we did was clear out some of these smaller successionary trees. Now, with that little bit of sunlight, and we're actually working with Cobb where they're going to bring out a lot more of these invasive trees that we have over there to bring more sunlight into here. Now, we're going to have, you can see we have 2 more. We're going to have a stand of pawpaws here that are going to be successful and give the community an opportunity to try a native fruit that probably 70% of you have never tried before. Raise your hand if you had a pawpaw. Yeah, that's more than enough of people that have never had it before, and almost everyone describes it as a blend between a banana and a mango. I think that's pretty good. I think that's pretty good. So now we are going to allow for a space where people can actually come in here and harvest those themselves and try them. So one of the things I talked about was plant communities. What I realized about the species of plants that I saw here is that they love moisture. This plant community is a water-loving plant community. So what does that tell me? Any plants that we put in here should like moisture. So the pawpaw, we can already see are doing successful, but even some of our other guys, where I think we could have a successful miniature. I'm really trying to key that word miniature, because there are some food forests where you can walk through and really see some species. We are really kind of claim that miniature food forest, but still having it in a space where people can enjoy it as a community. So you guys are going to be a big help in putting the rest of these plants in today.
I'm actually looking for it. Sorry, you want to grab the extra dirt?
Wait, do you also go KSU?
I'll come back. Oh my god, y'all.